Just a moment. Yes, we can start now.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be here with you today. I am Jacqueline McCafferty, Director of the International Center at Rowan University. I will be taking you through the first parts of this presentation. Kessie Ann Costa-String will then discuss undergraduate admissions with you, and then Jeff Plumer has information about graduate admissions. I will be doing that, as Tanushka mentioned, but he is online, as she also said, for any questions you might have. So I just wanted to get started with an overview of STEM in the United States. And according to Study in the States, this is an arm of the Department of Homeland Security in the United States, by 2018, there was an estimated 1.2 million STEM-related job openings in the United States. So this is a huge number and gives you an idea of how huge this field is. And the quote below there is from President Obama in 2010. I'm not going to read that quote. You can read that, but it's pretty clear that STEM is a critical part of the future of the United States. And especially at the advanced levels, international students are a critical piece of that future. They make up a large number of the students in the STEM fields, and especially at the graduate, master's, and PhD levels. This quote is taken from 2010. Following this quote that he, and the commitment that he made, the Department of Homeland Security actually expanded the number of STEM-related fields that were approved for F1 students. So what is a STEM designated major? I believe all of you probably know this. The big ones: biology, biomedical sciences, chemistry, computer science, engineering, pharmacology, and all the sub areas underneath those. However, if you go to this site, and I don't know if I can bring this up, let me see here. I don't know if you can see that there are approximately, well, over 100 different types of majors that are considered STEM majors in the United States. Now, why is this designation important for you as an international student? The importance of this designation is based on, number one, your status as an F1 visa holder in the United States if you choose to come here to study. With that status, you then have the ability to do curricular practical training, also known as CPT, which is concurrent. This is training, work, concurrent with your studies, or OPT, optional practical training, which typically happens after you graduate. So all F1 students have the option to do OPT, and this is 12 months of full-time employment after you graduate. However, as a STEM student, you then have a 17-month STEM extension. So obviously this is a wonderful opportunity for all F1 visa holders in the STEM field. And there is new guidance. I'm sure you've heard about it. It will be announced in February. It's currently still out for comment. Nothing is finalized yet, but what they are looking at is the possibility to change the 17-month STEM extension to a 24-month STEM extension. If you have any specific questions regarding that, at the question answer period at the end, I'd be happy to answer your questions. So now let's look at opportunities in STEM at Rowan University. So our College of Engineering is our top STEM-related college at the university. This is a College of Engineering that is numbered 23 in the entire country, and chemical engineering specifically is ranked 3rd in the United States. So this is an outstanding college. We also have multiple majors under College of Science and Math, School of Biomedical Science and Health Professions, We have a fantastic graduate school of biomedical science, which is very much focused on research, and then graduate engineering programs. And Jeff Plumer will be able to answer questions you might have about those later on. So I just want to go a little deeper into what's happening at Rowan in relation to STEM fields. So there was a restructuring of education in New Jersey uh, uh, in 2013, actually. And what this did was reposition Rowan to be the #2 research university in New Jersey. What does this mean? This means that we now have expanded doctoral programs, especially in the STEM fields. Our student expansion is going from what is currently about 15,000 students to a 10-year projection of about 30,000 students. Our research expansion has been phenomenal. We've gone in just 10 years from bringing in $24 million for research to $100 million in research. And any of you, especially looking to go into graduate STEM areas, masters or PhDs, that is critical to see what kind of funding we are getting for research. We have new buildings. I'll give you a picture of what that's going to look like for the College of Engineering building. And the College of Engineering just started a biomedical engineering program in fall of last year. There it is. There's our Rowan Hall expansion. This is the new College of Engineering. Right now we are about half of that size, and the projected opening for this is 2017. This will allow us to bring in many more engineering students. Right now it's an incredibly competitive program. Seats are very limited. And just to zoom in a little closer at what STEM might look like at Rowan, again, we have multiple STEM programs, but I just want to look at civil and environmental engineering just to give you an idea of what it looks like. This is the most research active department at the university. So the College of Engineering has 255 students, and this particular department has brought in $5 million in research from the agencies that you see listed there. So that's a really great funding track that they are on. They also give out fellowships for graduate students, and that would be teaching fellowships or research fellowships. And in the past 5 years, 30 students have received that. And their placement rate after graduation is 100%. And I'll show you a list of some of the companies that they are placed at. Some exciting new initiatives. So they are hiring new tenure track faculty members, an average of 1 to 2 per year over the next 4 years. That's a phenomenal expansion. There's a new interdisciplinary center for research and education in advanced transportation engineering. And they are in the process of acquiring the heavy vehicle simulator to conduct accelerated pavement testing. This is a huge research project happening right now in the College of Engineering that's bringing in some scholars from around the world, so that's very exciting. And the Biomedical Engineering, our inaugural freshman class began in fall 2014 with 90 students. The doctoral class, which started in spring 2015, currently has 7 students, and they are currently hiring new faculty as well. So some highlights from the graduate engineering side. You'll see the course classes and electives. There's 5 of each required. Graduate course transfer credits are considered for any of you who are currently in engineering or STEM-related programs and you want to transfer. We do take transfer credits. They are reviewed by the department, and then you're notified of what credits would be accepted. It's very research intensive, and multiple research fellowships are available that provides tuition waiver, competitive stipend for living, and all doctoral students would receive a research fellowship. So where will you find our College of Engineering graduates? They are at Lockheed Martin, L3, DuPont, ExxonMobil, GEI Consultants, Greenland Pedersen, New Jersey Department of Transportation, Caterpillar, Johnson Matthey, and that is just to name a few. And as I said earlier, our placement rate is 100%, which is phenomenal. I'm going to let Casey take over here to talk a little bit about the undergraduate admissions. So, Casey?
Hello. Um, Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jackie. So I'm going to talk a little bit about undergrad. We do offer very flexible admissions. So for freshmen, we have three options: the traditional, also pathway, which is a bridge program, and also conditional admission. For transfer, we do have the traditional admissions and also conditional, and I'm going to go over about each one of them as well. Oops, sorry about that. Just coming back. So traditional for international freshman applicants, this is the first year students. So we are Common App exclusive. Students have to go online and apply through the Common App. There is an essay and a fee associated with that. We request at least one academic letter of recommendation. Also, we need official transcripts as well. So if you are graduating from a high school outside of United States, we do need a foreign credential evaluation with one of our approved agencies, which are WES, ECE, or Joseph SUNY. You need to request a document by document with a GPA. And what that does pretty much is just put your official transcript from your high school into United States standards. We also ask for the language scores, TOEFL or IELTS. So for the TOEFL, 79 minimum score and IELTS 6.0. For engineering majors only, we also ask for the SAT or ACT scores. Remember, just for the engineering, we do not ask for the auto majors. For fine and performing arts, art, music, theater, dance, there is an audition or a portfolio review. And I also ask that students start their I-20 application as soon as they finish the Common App because it's a pretty lengthy document. So the Pathway program, like I said, is a bridge program for undergrad freshmen only. So pretty much with this program, the students need to meet all the admission requirements except the language. Some of the unique components are that the student will receive an admissions letter from the university and an I-20 from the university as well. It is a degree-seeking program. However, the two first semesters, you do start with some English courses and then some general, also general education courses as well towards your degree. The requirements, you apply directly to the university with the common application. The minimum TOEFL score that we request is 70 with a minimum writing band of 20. And for the IELTS, the minimum score is 5.5 with a minimum writing band of 5.0. We also, if you successfully complete our intensive English language program with Rowan, finishing levels 5, and you do get a minimum score of 500 in exit test, you can successfully enter the Pathway program as well. And you also, like I said, you also need to do all of the other undergrad freshman requirements as well. So for the conditional admissions, this is for both for undergraduate freshmen and transfer applicants. And again, students do need to meet all of the university admission requirements except language. The unique components with the conditional admission is that the student will receive an admissions letter from the Intensive English Language Program. So you start with Rowan Intensive English Program, and you do receive an I-20 from Rowan's Intensive English Language Program. And it is a non-credit And then when the student successfully finish the intensive English language program, then the student can enter the university and their training is transferred to the university. Excuse me. Again, you have to apply directly to the university, and we do not, you don't have to submit your TOEFL or IELTS for the conditional admission. However, you do need to submit all of the other undergrad requirements. So for transfer, we do have two community colleges at Rowan colleges, and you can transfer directly from those community colleges and transfer all of your credits to Rowan University. Um, so you do have a transfer application and a fee, $65. You also need to submit your official transcript. So if you are in the United States, you just submit your official transcript from U.S. institution, college, or if you're coming from outside of the United States, we do need a foreign credential evaluation transcript, again, with one of the agencies that are approved, WES, ECE, or Joseph SUNY, and we request a course by course with a GPA. The language score is the same for freshmen. So TOEFL, the minimum score is 7.9. IELTS, it's a 6.0. And for transfer students, if you do have a minimum of a C grade in a college composition 1 and 2, we can waive the language requirement. Transfer students, you do need a minimum of 12 credits to be considered a transfer student. However, if you do have fewer than 24 college credits, you do need to submit your high school transcript. Again, if it's outside of the United States, you do need to submit a foreign credential evaluation. A little bit about our cost for undergrad. So 2015-2016 academic year estimated cost. So the tuition and fees is about $20,978. For campus housing in your plan is about 11,646. So the total cost is about 32,624. So now here's a little bit of my information. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate and email me. You can reach me international applicants at rowan.edu or my email as well, string@rowan.edu. And now I'm going to pass back to Jackie to talk a little bit more about graduate admission requirements.
Hello again. Okay, so and I will talk about graduate admission requirements. And Jeff Plumer, who does this, is available to answer questions in the chat area. So there you see the link for finding the application, submitting the application. And once you submit the application, you'll start communicating directly with the admissions team at Rowan Global Learning and Partnerships. Global Learning and Partnerships is the division of Rowan University that handles all of the graduate admissions. So once you start communicating directly with admissions, then they'll let you know when something is missing, and also remind you of the application deadlines. The application deadlines are very important. So let's see the process. Within 3 to 5 days, you will receive an email with your Rowan ID number and instructions. Whoops, sorry. There we go. And as I said, the admissions team will then work with you regarding any missing items. The applicant can submit all required admission documents by using the upload form, email, or postal mail. And approved transcript evaluations and English language test scores must be official and sent from the issuing agency. So any TOEFL or IELTS or transcript evaluation would be most use the World Education Services, WES. Again, a look at engineering, and you see there specifically some of the engineering programs that we have at the master's level. And as I said earlier, we now have a PhD in engineering as well. So when can you start at the graduate level? Graduate students are accepted for both the fall semester and the spring semester. And then right here, you see the tuition, $808.90 per semester hour. A typical class is 3 semester hours. So the total cost for this particular, the engineering programs, and Jeff, if I'm misunderstanding that, let me know, but the total cost for engineering would be then 24,267 for the entire program. That's not including living expenses. So at the graduate level, unlike undergraduate, some of the prices vary based on the length of the program, the type of program, et cetera. So for example, the PhD program, the cost might be a little different. But as I stated earlier, most PhD students, if not all, do receive fellowships. So you would have substantial assistance to help you with those costs. So the application process continued. Again, we can't stress enough, pay attention to deadlines, and there is a link that will help you find those deadlines. The review process takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and you should know that it is the academic department that makes a decision at the graduate level, not the admissions. The applicant will receive the decision via email from the Rowan Global Learning and Partnerships admissions team. I don't believe you receive a letter in the mail. Everything is done via email to expedite the process. And if accepted, then you have 10 days to confirm enrollment. As with undergraduate, you also have to apply for your I-20, which will be the first step in obtaining your F1 visa. And the email there will take you to the International Center. So my center is the one who works with students to obtain that I-20. And then if you have any questions, this is the number for graduate admissions, and there is the email for graduate admissions. And that is it. So I think we will open it up for questions and answers. Again, here you see our contact information. If you have anything specific you want to email us about. But other than that, we'll open it up.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Jacqueline and Kezzy. I just have a couple of questions for you. I noticed that you didn't mention anything about GRE scores. Are GRE scores required? And if they are, how important are GRE scores in the graduate admissions decision process?
Okay, I'm going to let Jeff answer that in the chat box. Jeff, can you talk about GRE scores at the graduate level? Okay, so the GRE scores are not required for engineering. Okay, how about the other STEM-oriented graduate programs, Jeff? Oh, I see the question there. Do you have oral biology? We do not have oral biology, no. We have two medical schools, biomedical sciences, but I do not believe there is specifically a oral biology program.
do you accept international students into your medical school and medical programs?
We have one of our schools is a MD program. At this time, they are not accepting international students. The other medical school is a DO, that would be a doctor of osteopathic medicine. That school does accept international students. And are you familiar with the distinction between MD and DO? If not, the DO, the one that does accept international students, would really be training students to become doctors, sort of family doctors. It's a more holistic approach to medicine. So the focus may not be so much on surgery or something along those lines. It would be a holistic approach to medicine with the predominant career goal of being a family type doctor. They also do
So
have research tracks, however.
would an international student have to have a basic medical degree to apply for that program?
No, no, but you would have to have that pre-med background. So if you were a biology major or biomedical sciences major as an undergraduate, that would give you the necessary coursework. And if you're interested in research, it's called the School of Osteopathic Medicine. They do a dual degree program with the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, so you could actually get that DO, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, and a PhD, and then that would prepare you to be on a research track, to be a scientist, basically.
I see a question about if there is any specific SAT requirements for undergrad. Yes, we do request the SAT for engineering programs. Our minimum requirement is 1200. That's just for math and critical reading.
Jackie, you had mentioned that a lot of your PhD students do get fellowships, but do the master's students also get fellowships in the engineering programs, and or do they get teaching or research assistantships of some sort? Basically, how would a graduate student make his or her education at Rowan affordable?
Right. Yeah, so at the master's level, there are graduate assistantships. And that would be, it could be teaching or it could be research, and that really depends on the needs of the department. And typically the way that that works, the student would begin communicating with a faculty member in the department. Whenever you're applying at the graduate level, whether it's master's or PhD, especially PhD, because you want your research interests to be aligned, of course, but at the master's level as well, I always recommend reaching out to a professor, begin communicating. If they're interested in you, they think that maybe your research interests align, even at the master's level, they will work to see in what ways they can help to bring you on board with a graduate assistantship. So I always recommend do a little research online, see what the professors in the department are researching, and then start reaching out. And best way to get some assistantships.
No. However, we do not request the subject test. Like I said, it's just the math and critical reading. That's the main portion that we'll be looking at for engineering for undergrad. So, what kind of financial aid is available for undergrad? We do have a merit-based scholarship. That's primarily for fall applicants, and it's based on your high school GPA, also your language score, TOEFL or IELTS, and if you submit your SAT, you can qualify also for a higher range as well.
And
And typically,
Cassie, is all that
go ahead.
information up on the website if they wanted to get details?
Yes, the information is up on the website. For the merit base, actually, no. We're actually in the process of updating our website, and then that information, everything will be posted. If you need more information about that, you can email me, and I can send you a little bit more about the merit-based scholarship. The range is between 2 to 7,000 for the students for the
Per
year,
year.
and that can be for the year, and that can be renewed for 4 years if you are a freshman. If you keep your GPA at a 3.0. Great question.
Kenzie, I know you just answered this question, but we have someone who joined us a little bit late. So would you mind
Mhm.
just taking this question again?
Sure. So for SAT, we only require SAT for our engineering programs majors. So the minimum requirement that we'll be looking at is 1,200 for math and critical reading. We also accept the ACT as well, so one or the other.
One of the questions that one very popular question that we get as advisors are, what's the advantage of joining a program in fall versus joining in spring? So would you have any advice to share regarding this particular question? What are the advantages and disadvantages for joining in each semester?
So for undergrad, the only advantage that I see, it's kind of like our merit-based scholarship. It's only for fall applicants. However, we are enrolling pretty much on an yearly basis. We just want to make sure that our students will be accepted in time for orientation. But that's the only advantage that I see, besides the spring and fall, if you're really looking for a scholarship.
I would also say that one of the advantages is the majority of students do begin in the fall, September. So if you think about the curriculum and how that is laid out, if you begin in the fall with the majority of students, you're going in tandem with others in your cohort, and then on the same track for graduation, right? If you begin a semester later in the spring, then you sort of fall out of line with where the majority of the cohort might be regarding prerequisites, and especially in the STEM fields, there would be a lot of prerequisites. You might not have something offered when you need it because very often the curriculum is set up primarily to step students through beginning in the fall and then going sequentially through 4 years.
So can transcripts be sent from the student directly, or should it be sent only from the institutions? So for undergrad, we do use the approved agencies, West, ECE, or Joseph CUNY. So typically, they require that they will actually go directly to the institution and get their scores. So they really don't receive transcripts from the student, and they do request that the institution send it to them. And then they will evaluate and send us a report.
And I believe it would be the same at the graduate level. So the transcripts are coming directly from the agency who's doing the equivalency, and the institution needs to send to the agency. However, I do want to note that in the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, for the PhD programs, And Jeff, you can chime in regarding other doctoral programs, but I know the PhD in biomedical sciences does not require the foreign credential evaluation. They feel that they are typically familiar with the research that a student might be doing and probably in communication with the student, and to ask for that credential evaluation is an unnecessary step in the process for that level of research and study. And Jeff says correct. Regarding the FAFSA, and Kessie, if you want to speak to this, but the FAFSA form is for U.S. citizens and permanent residents. International students would not be eligible. Just to let you know, the FAFSA would be the financial aid form for student assistance for government funding, whether it's grant or loan, and that is not available to any international student, and that's across the board. That's not at Rowan. That is a federal governmental regulation.
Yes, that's correct.
So to answer the question, no, an international applicant cannot apply for FAFSA.
I actually have a question for Jeff and for Jackie also. This is just to do with graduate admissions. I'm just a little curious as to what admissions officers are looking at, what they're evaluating when they're looking at application packets, when they're looking at students. What are some of the important things that you look for in an application, and what can students do to present a strong application?
Jeff, feel free to chime in the chat. At the graduate level, the admissions team is basically reviewing to make sure all of the items are in the application packet. They do not review the application, however. That packet goes on to the department, and the professors review the packet at the graduate level. So what they would be looking for, and of course this would vary based on the department, but generally speaking, obviously they want to see very strong academics. At the graduate level, they want somebody who can come in, potentially get on the same research track with them. So if there is any work that you did as an undergraduate in a lab or anything like that, that would be very important. Again, this varies because every department is different, but in my experience, I have seen them pay attention to, essays, what they're writing, what their statement of purpose is. All of that is very important, and they do pay attention to the quality of the writing, I have found. It's holistic, so they're looking at everything, but obviously it's got to be a good academic track record, and the ability to communicate effectively in writing. Okay. Let me see here. The cumulative, to answer that one question, no, that would be based on undergraduate. If you're entering for a graduate degree, they're not looking at your high school at that point. So someone asked, are they looking at grades 1 through 11? That would be no. at the graduate level. At the undergraduate level, the high school transcript is important. And yes, that would be a 3.0. I'm not sure this other question, professional LORs. I'm not sure what an LOR is.
Jackie, they
Thank
mean
you.
letters of recommendation.
Letters of recommendation. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and it looks like Jeff did answer that. So, yeah, letters of recommendation from professors or others that you've worked with in the field is another piece that is also very important. Yeah. So thank you for mentioning that.
So I think the question is more along the lines of what if you had some work experience and you get one letter of recommendation from your professor, and can you get another letter of recommendation from your work, or if you've been doing your own business or you worked as a freelancer, where would you get your work professional letter of recommendation from?
Yeah. Jeff, feel free to chime in on this from your admissions perspective. From my perspective, I used to coordinate a graduate program. We would accept any type of recommendation letter that would allow us to gain a better picture of the quality of the student. So if that means somebody out in the field, in the workplace, that certainly would give us a better picture, especially if it's somebody who has been out of undergraduate for a few years. That would allow us to then see the quality of their applied abilities in the workplace, and that's very valuable. Does that answer the question?
Jeff also has shared some insight on this. I hope this answers your questions. Students, we have a little bit more time, so if anybody has any questions, we can take some more questions. Kezia, I'm not sure if you had mentioned this previously, but do you require letters of recommendation for undergraduate students as well?
Yes, we do require.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, we do require at least one letter of recommendation. Typically, for engineering school, because it's very competitive and well ranked, students do send more than one. And I think I forgot to mention that for engineering school, the minimum GPA is 3.5.
So at the undergraduate level, you need one, and at the graduate level, you need at least two.
Yes.
This is something our students really struggle with, actually, letters of recommendation, because teachers are really busy and sometimes they're very reluctant to give out letters of recommendation. As you may know, in the Indian education system, we don't really, there's no place for letters of recommendation. So sometimes I think even teachers have a tough time trying to understand what really goes into a letter of recommendation. So do you have any sort of advice as to what makes a good letter of recommendation? Oh, and we have a question that echoes exactly what I said.
Okay.
I guess this is a question for Chef.
Do you want me to answer that, Cassie? Or do you want to answer that? I can say, as somebody who has written multiple letters of recommendation and has also been on the reviewing side of that process, we are looking for a combination of a student's academic abilities, so talking about the work that they did in your class, and their not just their academic and intellectual capacity, but their work ethic. So their the effort that is put into projects, um, and their ability to also not just work alone, but work as part of a team. That's always very important in the university education system in the United States. At the undergraduate and graduate level, there's always going to be team type projects. So mentioning something along those lines always looks good. So I would say that's it. Academic ability, work ethic, ability to work as part of a team, but also ability to really take a project and run with it. So all of those areas are very strong um, in the letter of recommendation. Does that help?
Yes.
Mhm.
This is a great question. We have a lot of students
That
who
is
have this very question.
yeah. Um, and again, Cassie or Jeff, if you know how to do this, in terms of this is why the credential evaluation is so important because the agency would calculate that GPA. I'm not trained in doing that, so I can't really speak to that. Jeff or Kessie, do you know how that is done um, across education systems?
So for undergrad, the way that you can calculate is I usually there is a website called College Board, and you can go in there, and there is a spreadsheet that shows you like if your high school is from it's not the scale is not from 1 to 400. You can see the conversion. However, like Jackie said, for us, I'm not training on calculating GPA, and that's we do use the approved agencies, and when I get the report, that's already calculated for me. But there is this option. There is resources out there. If you just Google it, you can find that a spreadsheet that shows you what it means your score into a 4.0 scale. I hope that helps.
I'm also going to jump in here. Students are not really expected to calculate their GPA if you have a different grading scale, because the GPA usually takes into account the number of hours you've spent in every class per semester. So that's something that's not counted in the Indian education system. So don't worry about calculating your GPA. Either universities will have in-house experts who can convert scores and could provide an explanation of your scores, or they will ask you, like Rowan University does, and we have some other universities also that ask you to get your credentials evaluated by a credential evaluation agency. For your own knowledge, if you would like to know, what your scores mean on a 4 scale, what you can do is you can use the free GPA calculator that WES has. And you can just do a quick Google search and you'll be able to find that. But don't worry, you are not expected to calculate your GPA, and that's why universities ask you for all of your transcripts. And in the transcripts usually is an explanation of the grading scale and what it means. So this is, GPA calculation is not really easy. So don't worry about that.
Thank you.
We have another question. You're welcome.
So the agencies, Kessie mentioned 3 agencies that we use, and they're up on the website. World Education Services would be the most popular. Joseph Silney, and Kessie, there was one other, and I can't remember. But as Tanushka said, that would be part of the application process. So they would do that for you.
I think we missed one. Yeah. So is there an interview process once the application goes ahead for undergrad? No, we do not have a interview process for undergrad applicants. We do receive a lot of applications, and we do not have right now any interview process going on with applications.
Well, we're at the end of the time that we have for today's webinar. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for joining us. A big thank you to our presenters for doing such a wonderful presentation and sharing so many insights about STEM programs, about undergraduate admissions and graduate admissions as well. As you can see, their email IDs are up on the screen. So if you have any follow-up questions, I encourage all of you to please write to them and have a conversation with them offline and get any further questions clarified. And thank you all for logging in. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Lizzie. Thanks, Jeff. Jeff, I'm sorry we didn't get to see you online. I mean, we didn't get to hear you today, but it was good to have your inputs in the chat function.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It was our pleasure to be here to present, and we look forward to hearing from you. Please write down our emails so that if you have any questions, we are more than happy to assist you further. And thank you, Tanushka, for providing us with this opportunity.
Thank you
You're
all.
welcome. It was great.
Thank you all. Thank
It
you
was
for
great
joining
having
us.
you on board.
Sorry, Tanisha. I just want to mention that for undergrad, if you would like to Skype us, our Skype login is Rowan International. We can set up a meeting and go through the process that way as well, besides emails and so on.
Okay, so that's the Skype address there, Rowan International.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that, Kelsey. So students, if you heard that, and I think we have a few parents in the audience as well, you can just get in touch with Rowan International on Skype, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. So once again, thank you all so much for joining us today. It was indeed a wonderful session. For some of you who joined us late, this session has been recorded, and if you check back with us on Monday, actually if you check back at the same link on Monday, you can click on shared files on the top left corner of the screen, and that will take you to all of the previously recorded sessions. So you can check out this session as well as some of our other recorded sessions. And we will see you all for the next webinar, which will be on January 8th, I believe. So please stay up to date with us through Facebook for our upcoming webinars in January. A big thank you to the team at Rowan, and a big thank you to all the participants for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.